I grew up in Oviedo. The first two homes that I ever bought were in Oviedo, right at Oviedo on the Park. I've sold around 30 homes a year for the last decade just in Oviedo. So when I tell you that there are things I genuinely don't like about this town, I mean it, because I know this town and I love this place, but I have worked with enough buyers to know that the picture perfect version of Oviedo that you see on most agents' channels is leaving stuff out. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 6 things that actually bug me about living and selling real estate in Oviedo, but some of them are traffic, some of them are just how this town has changed over the last 10, 15 years. So let's get into it. And if you haven't been to my channel before, welcome. I am Christine McKinley. I am a realtor here in the Orlando, Oviedo, Seminole County area, and I help out-of-state buyers and families relocate to the Orlando area, figure out which neighborhood actually fits their lives and their lifestyles. And I've actually already done a full breakdown on Oviedo, and I'll put the link in the description below. But today is the honest counter to that video. Let's start with the one that you'll feel almost immediately. Number 1 is the 4 p.m. bottleneck on Redbug Road. Okay, this town was a small town for a really long time, like a really small town. I'm gonna try to find some old photos that were recently posted and put them on the screen. But over the last 15 years, it became a suburb that everyone wants to move to, which is probably why you are here watching this video right now. And I will say that the roads just have not completely caught up yet. This specific stretch can sometimes drive me crazy if I'm headed out to Oviedo to show houses for a client at like 5 p.m. It is right on Redbug Lake Road where it turns into Mitchell Hammock, and it runs straight through the old Duda sod farms into the heart of Oviedo. And around 4 p.m. that road really backs up into kind of like a bottlenose effect, because you will take once you go through the Duda sod farms, you'll take a right to get to UCF, you'll take a left to get to like Winter Springs, 417, another section of Oviedo, and then going straight through that light is Oviedo on the Park, like a ton of huge Oviedo neighborhoods. So if you've ever driven a 2-lane that suddenly like thousands of people are trying to use it as a commuter corridor, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. And here's why this matters for you as a buyer. If your spouse works or you work in downtown Orlando in Winter Park or anywhere on the west side of the Orlando Metro, that afternoon commute home is going to add a few minutes to your day. It's not catastrophic, but if I really have to make a whole video about things I don't like about Oviedo, which it's a short video, I mean, I only have 6 things that I don't like, I am definitely going to put this as number 1. Now, we are not like Atlanta or anything like that, or I-4 downtown Orlando. We're not Tampa, but we are a little bit, it's just a little bit backed up right there, and you'll notice it. So I can't genuinely make a video without talking about just that little section. It would probably add 5 minutes to your commute. So this is the kind of thing that I tell almost every single relocation client just to test. If you're flying down to look at houses, do me a favor, drive the commute at 4 o'clock, maybe 4:45 on a Tuesday, not 11 a.m. on a Saturday. Like today is a Monday, and I'm taking out some clients tomorrow, and I'm gonna let them know, because they're here for like a week looking at houses, I'm gonna let them know, do not judge this traffic by today. It is 1 p.m. on a Tuesday. Please come back tonight and you're gonna notice a little bit more traffic. There are some long-term fixes in the works, and I'll talk about one of those in the next point. But for now, this Redbug to Mitchell Hammock is the choke point. That is number 1 thing I'll bring up. Number 2 is people feeling like they're too far out if they live in Live Oak or the Sanctuary, which is one of Oviedo's best neighborhoods. And I also have a full driving video of the Live Oak Reserve neighborhood on my YouTube channel if you're interested in that. After this video, if you're okay with what I'm about to share, go and watch that video. Now, this one's gonna sound a little contradictory, so stay with me. The 2 neighborhoods in Oviedo with the best amenities, which is Live Oak Reserve and the Sanctuary, are also 2 of the neighborhoods that I get the most like, we're out too far. We're feeling a little bit too far from Oviedo on the Park, because it's on the opposite end of Oviedo from like if you're going into Winter Park or going into Orlando. So you are like the furthest out. These communities are technically 32766 zip code instead of 32765, and they're actually a little closer to Choliota than in the heart of Oviedo. The drive to 417, which is like the main highway that you're going to take to get pretty much anywhere in Central Florida from Oviedo, is about 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes with some traffic, which doesn't sound like much until you do it twice a day for a year. And I would say that that is kind of one of the complaints that some of my buyers will reach out to me about. Now, the trade-off is real. You're getting larger lots, you're getting the best amenities that the city has to offer. I mean, the sanctuary is rated like one of the biggest pools for a neighborhood in like, I don't know, I'll look it up maybe before I post this video, but like all of Orlando. I mean, that pool is huge. Live Oak Reserve, it is absolutely gorgeous. And again, please watch my video about Live Oak Reserve, because even though this is a negative, because I just have to tell you guys the truth, but Live Oak Reserve's amenities, you really don't have to leave. So part of the people don't really mind it because there's so many amazing amenities. There's pools, clubhouses, the gym. I wish there was a spa, soccer fields, sand volleyball courts. I mean, it really does have everything. So that's why I said it's kind of like a little bit of a catch-22. Here, there is no 5-minute Target run. Date night to Winter Park kind of becomes a project. You're going to have to get a sitter because you're driving probably 30 minutes into Winter Park. So that's 30 minutes each way. Now, the good news is that the city is working on an overpass for 419 to go over, Lockwood, specifically to make access to these two neighborhoods a little bit easier. From what I've heard, they just collected enough signatures to bring the proposal to the city. So we will see where that goes. No promises on that at all. I am not involved whatsoever. So that's really all that I know about it so far, but I will definitely give you guys an update if I have something. If that overpass happens, it's actually going to change the math on Live Oak and the sanctuary in a really meaningful way, because you will skip a pretty big light that takes up a lot of time, and it might even push prices in the process. My honest take is these neighborhoods are amazing. They're incredible, but they're not for everyone. If you work from home, if you have maybe one stay-home parent, if you don't mind a 10-minute drive being part of your everyday errand, you will love it out there. And if you're commuting daily, or if you're the kind of person who maybe you like to walk to coffee on a Saturday morning, you are going to feel like maybe you're a little bit too far out there. Number 3 is kind of silly to bring up, but if you drive through Oviedo, you will notice it. Oviedo has so many new townhome communities going up right now. I can barely keep track of them, to be honest with you. And they're popping up in some of the most random places that I've ever seen a builder put a community. There's one, and I'm not kidding, it's being built right next to a cemetery. So there's like one row of townhomes that if you step out onto your front porch, you are looking over a cemetery. They're putting townhomes on the side of 426 next to a church. Really, wherever the builders can find land, they're going to be building it. And you can tell that that's the vibe right now in Oviedo, just because we are out of land in Oviedo to build a bigger community with single family homes. And also, this is happening because single family home prices in Oviedo have climbed to a point where a lot of buyers, especially people who really want the school zones, they're saying, okay, fine, we will do a townhome. They're not going to pay $700,000 for a single family home that they like, but they will do like a 475 townhome that's like a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. So they're trading the yard and the privacy for access to schools and the location. And builders know that. They've picked up on that. So they're feeling the demand. Now, I did a whole video on Oviedo's new construction townhomes just a couple months ago. I've actually done 2. I've done one where I think I did like a tour of, I think I did the one next to the cemetery. If I didn't do one next to the cemetery, I'll check on that and I'll let you guys know. And if I don't, I'll do one. You can go back and see that video. But I did another one maybe a month and a half ago, and it's the luxury 3-story townhome communities. Now, they're super, super nice, but it's in such a random part of town. And I do think that they're a little bit overpriced. I'm not gonna lie. I think that the last one I saw listed was $530, and that just seems a little bit high. You could totally get a nice house in Oviedo for $530. If you omit a pool, you'll get an even nicer house. Yeah, I think that's a trade-off. You could get a really nice and big 3-story townhome, completely updated, brand new, all the warranties, all the gadgets, all the appliances that are brand new, the windows that are brand new, and all that good stuff. But it's like literally off the side of 426. I don't know. That's a hard sell for me. And I love townhomes as a product. I sell them all the time. But the volume and the placement of what's being built in Oviedo right now, in my opinion, is a real concern for the character of the town, like 5-10 years out. Number 4 is that people really love Oviedo on the Park, but if you want to be walkable to Oviedo on the Park, the options are very, very limited for you. Oviedo on the Park is one of the prettiest gathering spots in Seminole County. Center Lake, the cultural center, the splash pad, and it's such a hub. Even this weekend I was out there and it was just packed. It was Mother's Day weekend. There were so many people, so many families, but all of Oviedo has to drive to Oviedo on the Park unless you live in a few different communities. So it's walkable once you get there, but you can't walk to it. If walking distance to Oviedo on the Park is a must-have on your list, here's your entire menu of options. Number 1, Park Place by Pulte, which is a 3-story luxury community that I love. I sold one in there. Number 2, the Hamptons by Ashenwood, which is another 3-story luxury townhome community. And then there are 2 streets of David Weekley homes. They're single families, but they are on 0 lot lines and they're currently selling in the high 600s. So that is it. That's your entire list if you want to be in a walkable distance to Oviedo on the Park. Everyone else is driving to Oviedo on the Park, which means you cannot live in Oviedo without a car. You cannot do it. There's no like walkable downtown the way that Winter Park has Park Avenue. There's no transit that connects neighborhood amenities. Your driveway and your car are the infrastructure. This is a really important one for out-of-state buyers, especially anyone coming from a walkable city. My Brooklyn people, my Philly people, my Chicago people, Boston, parts of DC that are moving down. You are going to feel the car dependence within the first month. I'm not saying don't move here. Oviedo truly is suburban in the most American sense of the word. Number 5 is the lifestyle gaps. Oviedo is truly built for families. It's not really built for anybody else, which might be one of the reasons why you really love it. So maybe that's a pro for you. If you are a young single person, a young couple without kids, or a retiree who wants a downtown, like that kind of style of life, the offerings here are thin. This is essentially a 1 condo community in the entire city, and they are really nice. They also have some amazing amenities, but that is it for condo inventory for all of Oviedo. Nightlife is similarly limited. We have, off the top of my head, I was really trying to think about nightlife in Oviedo, and it's a little bit embarrassing to even say, but we have an ale house. We have a few bars. They will stay open late, mainly for sporting events. So if you like to grab a beer, sit at like an outdoor patio with sports on, this is perfect for you. This is so perfect for you because that is what you're going to get at Oviedo on the Park. That's what you're going to get at the ale house. But if you want real dinner and drinks energy on a Friday night, you are probably driving to Winter Park or downtown Orlando, which is fine, but it's about a 20-minute drive on either side. So it's a commitment. It's not a stroll. This isn't a criticism of Oviedo so much as a clarity check. The town has a lane and it's an excellent lane, but if you're not in that lane, if you're not raising kids or maybe planning to, you might feel that the town wasn't built around you because it wasn't. Number 6 is the loss of a small town feel. So this last one is hard for me to talk about because it is personal. I grew up here. I grew up in Oviedo. The Oviedo that I grew up with is not the same Oviedo that I sell real estate in now. And the people who have been here the longest will be the first to tell you that. If you scroll the Oviedo neighborhood Facebook page, and by the way, if you are not a member of the Oviedo Facebook page, send me an email or a text or something, because it's hilarious and it will actually give you pretty good insight into the town of Oviedo and the people that are here. And I would definitely lurk that page before you move here. You will see some longtime residents who were very openly frustrated with how much the town has changed over the past 10 to 15 years and even longer than that. The roads that are widening, the planned unit developments, the constant construction, the traffic, even though it's not that big of a deal, it's still much worse than than 20 years ago whenever they were living here, and they're not quiet about it. And honestly, I do get it and I understand their point, but this growth of Oviedo, you just cannot stop it. The other side of this is that Oviedo still has the bones of what makes it so special. There are still pockets with, well, a lot of pockets with no HOA. There are still streets where people have chickens in the yard, the original chickens that are still roaming around downtown Oviedo. If you have not heard about that, that's an actual real thing, and I need to get that on video for you guys actually. And that is still there. It's just smaller than it used to be. So the small town feel has not been erased. It's just been compressed. I'd also fold one more thing into this point because it touches on the same thing. Getting to Winter Park is not as easy as people think. 20 minutes through the 417 or just down to Loma, 20 minutes for a date night or a real Saturday shopping trip. It's not a deal breaker, but it is a tax, and it surprises buyers who assumed that Oviedo and Winter Park were essentially the same neighborhood. They are not. And I do believe I have a video on, I've filmed so many videos at this point, I forget what I've done and what I've thought about filming, but I think that I have an Oviedo versus Winter Park video, and if I don't, that will be coming next, but I'm pretty sure that I do. So you can watch that if maybe after this video you're like, ooh, maybe we need something more into town. Just watch that video and that will probably clarify some things for you. But the small town feel is being squeezed. The road network is constantly under construction, and the connections to the rest of Central Florida ask a little bit more of you than they do in some other parts of the metro, but there's a really good trade-off, and Oviedo is still fantastic. Okay, so those are my 6 things that if I really had to think about it, those would be the 6 things that I don't love as much about Oviedo. And I try to be honest. If you guys have any questions about that, again, just reach out to me. I'm still selling around 30 homes a year just in Oviedo, and I'd still buy in Oviedo myself. So let's talk about who Oviedo is actually for. That way, maybe you feel a little bit better about making the move after watching this video. Oviedo is for, you know, just good people. It's for families. It's for buyers who are still chasing the version of the American dream that involves a big house, a big lot, a pool in the backyard, and a neighborhood where kids can just be kids and ride bikes outside, and other parents are kind of like watching over those kids if they see them outside also. It's for buyers who want newer construction, anything from the 90s and on, who love to have a little patch of woods behind their lot. There's a lot of lots on conservation that's a little harder to find around the rest of Central Florida. It's for the families who want theme park access without the theme park exhaustion all the time and the traffic of all of those tourists. It's for the buyers who want to go to the beach a few times a month. It's for people who like a local dining scene that supports small businesses. If that's you, the 6 things I just talked about, they're not deal breakers, but you just know about them. So if you're thinking about making a move to Oviedo or somewhere else in Central Florida, send me a message. My contact info is in the description, and let's figure out whether this is your spot. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.